Hey guys, Jack Spirko here with Jack's Low Carb Journey episode. I don't know. I'm going to quit guessing at the beginning, and you can just look in the title if you care how many episodes of this I've done. Anyway, because every time I guess I'm wrong, I should look before I start, but I don't, so I didn't, and then I don't, and then I'm wrong. So, the hell with it. We're just going to go straight on into it. We're going to tell you what we're going to talk about today, give you a weight loss update, and then we're going to talk about our subject of the day. So, what we're going to talk about today is how I actually manage and run my keto diet. I'm going to give you, let me see, I can actually look at this, another number, 12 kind of bullet points that I do, how I actually run my diet. And the reason I'm going to do that is, well, let's tell you my weight loss first, because last time we checked in was Friday. I was 223.8 pounds, and I really thought I was going to be able to celebrate 25 pounds with you on Monday. Probably wait till tomorrow. So close. Weigh-in this morning, 222.6, which is a loss of 1.2 pounds since Friday, which is probably fairly legitimate based on my average daily weight loss. I've calculated my weight loss over the entire project, which is now at 43 days, 0.65, and over the last 20 days, 0.45. About 0.45 per day. That doesn't mean every day I lose 0.45 pounds. It means when you average it out over 20 days, that's what it comes out to. And I think that's going to be important with the subject of the day. My total body fat is my weight loss percentage. So total amount of my original starting weight I've lost 9.88%. We're really closing in on that 10%. So close. 25 pounds will be hitting that 10% number. So next, the other thing I want to tell you guys, so I am tracking my body fat percentage. So my body fat percentage started at 34%. 10 days ago, my body fat percentage is down to 29%. And today it is 26%. That is a massive reduction in body fat. I am still, according to the standards, obese. I'm also like this close. 1 inch off my gut. One more inch, and I will be acceptable. Acceptable will not be good enough for me. I am aiming for fit. I just worked something out that I think is pretty cool. I'm going to be speaking at PorkFest in the White Mountains of New Hampshire next spring. Actually, next summer. I plan on getting to the weight long before that. But many years ago, some of you guys don't know this about me, I hiked from Pennsylvania to New Hampshire on the Appalachian Trail. I didn't do a through hike, Georgia through Maine. I didn't have time to do it. I started in the middle of summer. It was right after I got out of the Army in 1993. And when I finished that hike on that trail, I got to a place called North Conway. And I got a hotel and decided, I'm kind of done. And so I made a phone call to get picked up, which was the plan all along. Like, I'm going to go until I'm done, until I feel like I've rebooted my life after coming out of the military. And when I figured that out, I'll make a call and I'll hang out. So I hung out and realized I'm going to be there for almost a week because the person coming to get me is going to take a while. It's like, I'll get there when I get there type of thing. No problem. I've been living on a trail. I got some money saved up, so a hotel for a week is kind of really luxurious, And I decided while I was there, maybe I had one more hike in me. So I summited Mount Washington, which is the highest mountain east of the Mississippi River. It's over 6,000 feet. And I stood on top of that mountain at 187 pounds at 21 years of age. And I'm going to probably be pretty damn close to that weight when I'm in New Hampshire for PorkFest. And you'll be able to look and see Mount Washington where I stood on top of that summit all those years ago, back 1993. So it was like 25 years or something like that. And so I'm going to do several talks at PorkFest. One is going to be on keto. And that's going to be a pretty cool moment. And I'm committing to you that we're going to be somewhere in the 190s at that point, probably low 190s, high 180s, like within 5 pounds of my weight at 21. It's going to be a hell of a story. So I didn't plan on sharing that today, but it just kind of came to me this week when I was putting all this stuff together. Like, yeah, man, that's what's going to happen. So what do I want to talk about today? I want to talk about how I actually manage my keto diet. And the reason I want to do that is that I've done a lot of teaching over the years in a lot of different worlds, and I'm like, I know I'm clear about what I'm saying to do, and then I'll go look at something like in permaculture, I'll go look at what somebody thinks a swale is, and I'm like, I have explained this 100 times. This is not a swale. You've made a ditch. not a swale, and they are different things. A swale, all swales are ditches, but not all ditches are swales. So I've realized like you have to be very specific. So I wanted today to take a moment and go through 12 points of exactly what we do, my wife and I, on this keto. That's again resulted in 9.8% of my body weight lost in 43 days, almost 25 pounds. I am 4/10 from 25 pounds. That is pretty badass. Number one, you need to calculate your body fat. And I got links for all this stuff in the notes. Just assume they're there, go look, and you'll find them. So you got to calculate your body fat. I know a lot of people don't want to do it, but you got to do it because you cannot get a good macro calculation without it. And you have to, at some times, you need to like stop and recalculate it and see if your macro numbers have changed as you've lost weight. Especially as you start losing 20, 30, 40 pounds, you can have significant changes, and that can cause plateaus. So step one, calculate your body fat. I don't care if you want to or not, go do it. Step two, calculate your macros. And as I've said many times, without a caloric deficit, you are not going to have significant weight loss that is sustainable. You might have significant weight loss in the first 2 weeks. Most of it's going to be water in the first 2 weeks anyway, okay? You cannot lose 10 pounds in 1 week because you would have to burn 35,000 additional calories to do it. So you can't really do that because there's 3,500 calories in a pound of human fat, okay? So you've got to have a deficit. And I would say make your deficit between 15 on the low end and 25 on the high end. I went right in the middle. I run a deficit of 20%, okay? And you got to calculate your macros. And you need to make sure that you set your carbohydrates to 20 or lower. You may be given a higher allowance. The tool that I use to calculate your macros, you tell it going in, I want 20 carbohydrates, and it makes the fat and protein ratio based on your activity, your weight, your body fat, all that stuff for you. And I think most men that are overweight are going to be somewhere in around 1,900, somewhere between 1,800 and 2,000 calories to be at a 20% deficit. I'm at 1,900 and change. I'm going to give you my actual numbers here in a second. But you make the calculation, and you get those numbers, and you occasionally recalculate them. And if you don't do that, it's like pissing in the wind. And like if you have good, if you're a dude especially, and you pee outside, and you have good men in your life when you're a little boy, they teach you not to piss in the wind quick. Right? Don't piss in the wind, all right? Next, choose and install an app. My wife and I were talking about this. We could not do things the way that we do without the app. Actually, we could, but it would add an hour of screwing around to our lives, or we'd have to make like a cheat sheet and much more limit the foods that we eat. We like a lot of variety in our lives, right? Again, you always focus on what you can have rather than what you can't have. So you get the app. The app I recommend has some bugs. Occasionally, like, you go back in time and, like, stuff that you did in the past is changed. I don't know what the hell that's about. It must be a database issue. They supposedly have a new one coming out. I don't care what you use, but you need to use an app. Next, don't trust the app's calculation for your macros. My app gave me 27 carbohydrates, and it did not give me what I thought was enough fat to truly be ketogenic, even though it's a keto diet app. So I made adjustments. Mine gave me 27 carbs. I dropped it to 20. There's a way to manually take over and do your own macros. And I use the tool, online tool, because when I check those numbers for sanity, they make sense to me. Okay? So this is what I actually eat. At 5'11", 223 pounds, and 26% body fat. 1,901 calories. Now, 1,900 is fine, 1,905 is fine. That's just what the calculation came out to when I reran it this morning. It actually dropped it a few calories, like 3, from where I was when I started. As I said, it changes. Of that, 156 grams of fat, 20 grams of net carbs, and I do believe net carbs work, so yes, I use net carbs, and 105 grams of protein. And that's based on a moderate activity level. I don't do a lot of heavyweight training. I will not consider myself heavily active. I would be lying to the app. It will lie to me, and then I will screw myself. Do not lie to the app. If you are sedentary, put sedentary. If you don't like the numbers for sedentary, get up and take a walk. We'll talk about that in a minute. Then, do not eat, then enter your info into the app. That is backwards, okay? That is ass backwards. Take the app, plan your meals before you put them together. So you might have already decided tonight I'm having steak. Well, how much are you going to have? The app will tell you. You have to make decisions. Like, gee, if I have 10 ounces of this steak, then I got to cut these other things. Like I can't put an avocado on my salad. Which one do I want? You can have whatever you want, as long as you keep your carbs right, and as long as you strive to kind of meet your macros the best you can. But, you'll find like last night, we did baby back ribs, and so barbecue sauce is really off. So I made basically buffalo wing sauce for baby back ribs. By the way, that's awesome. I was able to find numbers for cooked, deboned baby backs, because one rib is bullshit, because one rib's this big and one rib's this big and one rib's that thick and one rib's that thick. So I got a number for it. I decided I wanted 8 ounces of meat. With how much fat baby backs have and all, when I looked at it, I ended up changing it to 7 ounces. But I planned it in advance. And you plan your lunch in advance and your dinner in advance, and that way when you're doing your lunch, if you know what you're going to be eating dinner tonight, if you want some extra room, you know where to hold back, all right? But you enter the data before you eat. When I go to make a salad, I have my whole ingredients list sitting in front of me. I'd show it to you, but my phone is doing the video. And I go through and I plan everything out, and then we get our stuff out of the refrigerator, and I do it. But Jack, I have to eat at work, and I don't... Okay, when you do your meal prep, do the same thing. The app will move to tomorrow for you, okay? So at the end of your dinner, if you have to take lunch to work to do this, which most of you do, I get it, most people have a day job. Not everybody can be a podcaster for a living. That's fine. You're probably going to use some of your leftover meats, and you should be, because that way you won't waste, and you'll find this is not as expensive as you think it is. Plan it right then. As soon as you're done and you're cleaning up, make your salad for tomorrow, and always put any kind of dressing in one little container, meat in a little container, and the salad in another container. If you do that, everything will be nice and fresh. And then if you want warm meat with your salad or whatever, you can heat that up. If you have leftover cooked vegetables, whatever, keep them separated, just like the song goes. Gotta keep them separated, right? Keep them separated, and you will have much better results. You can heat things up. You don't get bleed over with flavors that really don't belong together marinating overnight. Right? But one way or another, you plan the meal in the app, and then you make the meal, not the other way around. I can't tell you how important that is. Try to eat 2 meals a day. I have been on 2 meals a day for everything except my first week. My first week, I did what people say you can do and lie about. But it was just to adapt my body. I ate as much as I wanted of things and kept my carbs under 20 for 1 week. 7 days is a week, not 10. Okay? And then on day 8, I went to 2 meals a day and I started rationing my calories. You can go straight to it, but I think you might get through the transition of your body getting used to eating and burning fat a little easier if you let yourself have more food. Okay? So absolutely try to eat 2 meals a day. You only think this is hard. And let me explain why. Like, there's so much of how screwed up our bodies and our minds are because we've been programmed. Okay? You know what they call shit on TV? They call it programming. When they figure out what advertisements they're going to run with which TV show, they call it programming. When they figure out how they're going to do the channel lineup, when they figure out how they're going to do the Saturday night lineup on CBS or ABC or Fox or whatever, they call it programming. You know what they should call your education in school? Programming. It's all programmed, just like a computer. And the computer does what it's told. You have been programmed to believe that you're supposed to eat 3 meals a day. Why? Because, well, if you sell food for a living, it's a good thing if people eat 3 meals a day. You don't need snacks. One more time, you don't need snacks. You are fat, right? If you're already hip and shape and you're doing it for health reasons, okay, I'm not talking to you today, right? You need to figure out what your maintenance level is, and you do shit however you want, and you stay on it, and if it starts creeping up, you adjust. You're already there. If you're fat, you don't need snacks. You don't need to be drinking calories. You don't need chocolate cake. I don't care if it's keto chocolate cake. You need 2 meals a day, and it will make your math so much easier. You're going to be on a deficit of about 400 to 600 calories. That's your breakfast, fool. Got it? That's your breakfast. So we just get rid of breakfast. And if we're doing 1,900 calories, we have about 850 calories a meal. I generally hold my lunch down in the 700-ish calorie range. I drink about 100 calories of cream with my coffee, okay? About 80 because I use half and half. And that lets me have usually 1,100 calories, sometimes more for dinner. That is a huge dinner, and it makes it really easy to come all the way back around like 2 or 3 o'clock in the afternoon. I'm starving. No, you're not. You're not 500 pounds. You're not 400 pounds. You're not 50 pounds overweight and starving. Your body is going to the well and getting, that's what that feeling is at first. Fight through it, and within a week of doing this, it will not be hard anymore. Occasionally, you're going to feel kind of empty stomach, hungry, whatever. If you really need to, okay, then you could eat like a small piece of cheese or something that's mostly fat to make that feeling go away. But if you wait, you will find many times that that feeling goes away. It goes away. You've been taught that you're never supposed to be hungry. Do you think that's how our ancestors for, 3 million years lived? And the answer is no. We have only lived in a society where it is possible to never be hungry for about 50 to 60 years. All right? Hunger is part of humanity. And I don't mean hunger, starvation. I mean, hey, now that I'm hungry, I'll eat instead of I'll eat to avoid hunger. That's how we got fat. Turn off the programming 2 meals a day. 1 meal a day, that can work. I haven't done it yet, but it would be one of the first places I would go if I plateaued. Next, alcohol. If you're going to do it, 1 drink, 1 night a week. If you're going to push it, and let's say maybe you're not really overweight, let's say you're getting great results and you feel like, you know what, I want a little bit more than that, 2 drinks, 2 nights a week, not consecutive. Go watch my video on alcohol. I'll put a link in the notes. Alcohol shuts down your body's ability to burn glucose. The entire reason we're doing this is to manage blood sugar. If you have 1 drink, and especially if you because it's only 1, and you milk it over about an hour, your liver can pretty much, a drink is not, oh, here's some whiskey. You just put 5 ounces of whiskey in there. That's not a drink. Just because if it's in 1 glass does not make it a drink. It is a measured single drink. I'll let you, it's 1 shot of liquor, it's 5 ounces of wine, it's 1 very low carb beer, and I would stay the hell away from beer during this, unless maybe it's Michelob Ultra. And you got to record the calories, and you got to record the carbs for whatever you're drinking. And let me tell you, if you know tonight I'm going to have a drink, put the drink in, like under snacks, now, so that when you do your meals, you've already accounted for it. And that's 1 drink, 1 night a week, if you want to imbibe. And if you really like, you're going to have 2, okay, then it's Friday and Sunday. It's not Friday and Saturday. Don't do it back to back. Give your body time to get back in the mode, all right? And that's what we do. Daily weight, exercise. Do whatever you see fit. But the number 1 exercise you can do to get your mental state right and to get your body moving is just walk. And most of you probably have the Health app on your iPhone, and I'm sure Android has something similar, or you can download something. You should be walking at least 2 miles a day. Now, that's all you're walking, so keep your phone on you and look. And if you naturally walk a mile a day, add a mile. It's not that much. I go out and take care of my birds and stuff on my little, and it's a 3-acre property, but I'm on 2 acres right here. And I'm on the back side of it, so I'm on like 1.5 acres. And every morning I put on a half mile without putting any real effort into it. So I look at my thing at the end of the day, and I just walk around my property. If you have to, walk around the house. Go to the mall. Walk around the mall. Don't buy shit, but just walk around. Look at all the fat people and think you're not going to be one of them soon. Do whatever you got to do, but use it mental and physical. Weightlifting is outstanding, okay? But you do not need to go to the gym and be like, and grunt like you're taking a dump to be able to say that you're weight training. Now, this is not for the keto app. Don't be saying you're weight training if you're doing what I'm about to say. Because basically you're just doing, but get some dumbbells, even lighter than you think you need at first. You can always get heavier ones or get the ones that adjust. Those are great. And do curls, overhead lifts, rise in front of you, clenches, do a few squats. Something like come up with 5 to 10 exercises and then do like 5 sets of that group of exercises. You have 5 exercises, 10 reps apiece, and that's 1 set. And then take a break, 30, 60 seconds, do another set. 30, 60 seconds, do another set. If you can't get through it, lighten the weights. I don't care if you're embarrassed by them, nobody's looking at you. The number 1 reason you're going to do weightlifting, 1, it helps retain muscle mass when we're making this switch to burning fat, and we're cutting back on our protein probably from where we were. So it sends this kind of anabolic message to the body. Preserve the muscle. We're working. Okay? But the number 1 reason is here in your head. It is stress relief. It makes you feel better. It reduces cortisol. It is one of the greatest things in the world that you can do for yourself is just a little bit of weight training. And you can do that 3 days a week. And I know there's a lot of guys of you that are gym rats and you're building up the big old biceps and all. Oh, man, you need to be. No, you need to do that. And that's fine for you. And if your goal is to be really, really stacked and built, then that's what you need to do. But if you just want to lose weight and be healthy, 3 to 4 days a week of lightweight training, high number of reps, high number of sets, because 5 sets of 10, what I'd like to see you do is get up to like 5 sets of 20, right? And then eventually maybe 10 sets of 20. And you can do that in 15 minutes with light weights. You're trying to get some limited aerobic effect with the anaerobic weights, putting the bearing on the body. You don't have to do that. But, 2 to 3 weeks in, when you get through the keto flu, try adding that. And again, just get up in the morning and do it, It's not hard. Next. Set goals. Those of you that are doing my 40-day challenge, there's a goal column, and it's blank. That's for you, because I can't set your goals for you. But I think that a reasonable goal is between 1/4 and 1/2 pound a day, not every day, but over time. You need to look at it this way. So daily weight is for accountability. If you're weighing yourself every day, you're just doing it. So you don't get lazy and you don't back off because you have to go look at that scale every day. If you go up 1/2 pound on an individual day, as long as you haven't broken protocols, as long as you stayed on plan, don't even worry about it. You didn't take as big a dump that day. That's all that means. But if you're falling off the plan and you start creeping up, it makes you say, hey, you know what, dumbass, you're doing this for a reason. Okay, so that's what the daily weight is for. Measure your results over 10 days. And over that 10-day period, you want to look to average 1/4 to 1/2 pound over 10 to 20 days. If you're doing that, you're golden. And you're going to hit your ideal weight. It might take 6 months. It might take 9 months. Depends on how fat you are. But you're going to get there. Just stick to it. And women, you're going to probably, I hate to say it, you're going to be closer to the 1/4 pound number. Especially once you come down off, like if you're really overweight, either sex, it starts to pour off like 2 weeks in. It just starts, like every day it's 1/2 pound. Like you can measure it's 1/2 pound. And then there'll be a couple days where it does it, and then it'll drop like 1 pound, 1.5 pounds. So it'll catch up. But as you get closer and closer to not being so overweight, you're going to start slowing down. You're going to be more in that 1/4 pound range. Set your goals based on 1/4 pound. Measure them over 10 days. That's only 2.5 pounds in 10 days. You'll blow them away in the beginning. And you can set secondary goals like this is what I have to have and this is nice to have. And the nice to have can be more aggressive, but under promise, over deliver. That'll keep your mental state right. Because sometimes you're like, man, it's not really working. I didn't lose any weight in the last 2 days. Yeah, but I had days like that recently, but when I can look and say, well, I lost 24 pounds in 42 days, yeah, it doesn't matter, right? So that's what daily weight's for. Then don't punish yourself if you fall off the wagon. Don't be like, well, so yesterday I went out and ate a cupcake and I drank 4 beers and I didn't track my macros and I know I overate. So today I'm only going to let myself have 800 calories. You just fucked up your body, to be blunt. Don't fuck it up more. How long did you live like that before you went on keto? And the answer is probably a decade or more. That's where most people that are sending me the data to be in my challenge, and when I look at your weight and your measurements, you did what I did. Maybe you even kind of half-hearted in and out of dieting over those 10 years, but you basically abused your body for at least 10 years. 1 day will not change anything, but 2 days of screwing it up will change a lot. It'll take longer to get back where you belong. Isn't it amazing that you were eating so abusive to yourself, and then you went on keto, and within a week, your whole body started changing? So if you abuse yourself for 1 day, abusing yourself a second day by going to the other extreme won't help. Go right back to your program, follow your macros, and then say, I'm not going to do that again. And then when you don't get the results you want over the next few days, remember why. That you did it, that the guy in the mirror is the one that screwed you. And then the next time you think about eating that cupcake or whatever, just go, you know what? I'm eating ribs and chicken tonight, man. I don't need that damn cupcake. That's the attitude to have. But don't punish yourself. It will just make things worse. Last, the mental game is everything. This is 90% in here and 10% in here. Okay? Now I'm going to give you one more statistic here in a second as we wrap up. But in the end, if this does what it's supposed to, this will do as it's told. This runs this. So yes, what this does, how much it eats, how much it doesn't eat, how much activity it gets, all of that is actually what gives you the results. This is the program device. This is the computer. You need to be constantly telling yourself that you're doing good. You need to constantly be telling yourself that you love the food that you're eating, even if at first you don't. You need to be constantly telling, man, tonight I get to eat. Isn't this awesome? I get to have an avocado today because my calories are low enough to throw one in my salad. If you don't like avocados, whatever the hell it is. You have to have that high mental state. That's why walking is important. Walking gives you time to think. Well, when you sit and think, you think bad shit. When you move and think, you think good shit. That's just how the body works. So when you're walking, start thinking about your future. Number one way to get your mind right is start thinking about your future and what you're going to do with your new body. Like, I'm going to start planning a trip where you're going to take a 5-mile hike that you know you can't do right now. But plan it 7 weeks away from now, 8 weeks away from now somewhere. Pick a spot and start planning what that's going to be like. Because now you're walking a mile around your flat property. But in 7 weeks, you're going to walk 4 miles, 3 miles, 5 miles, whatever it is, up and down some hills in the woods. And what's that's going to feel like, right? Start thinking about the new clothes that you're going to buy. How you're going to feel when you walk into a room and you don't feel like your old self. How you're going to feel even just 30, 40 days into this when you feel like there's part of you missing. How good that feels. The mental game is the key. This controls this. Lastly, I talked about exercise. I glossed over this. You have to understand this. You can't exercise your fat away. Exercise is for this and a little bit of this. Okay? And what did I say? This is the most important thing. So we get the exercise so that this will do its fucking job and tell this what to fucking do. Do you understand me? That's why we exercise. We exercise so that we lift weights and we feel like, oh, I got that out of my system, instead of grabbing somebody that's stressing us out and choking the shit out of them. It releases endorphins. It makes our whole body work better. But as far as weight loss, exercise is 10 to 15% at best of weight loss. 85 to 90% is what this tells this to eat that goes in here, right? So where do we focus? We focus on the 85 to 90% that goes in here, but the way that we control that, this doesn't ever just your mouth never leaves your face, runs away like Pac-Man, eats 27 Twinkies and comes back and goes, sorry, Dad. That shit doesn't happen, does it? This says you need this and then, or this says, hey, bitch, I'm in charge. I'm the thing that keeps us alive. I'm the thing that keeps you from laying on a hospital gurney and having your chest spread open. So you're not eating that freaking Twinkie. Do you understand me? And that's where the mental game comes from. That's what it's all about. But that's what you do. That's how simple this is. That's why people are like, you should write a book. Why the hell am I going to write a book? I give it to you for free. There it is. That's the whole flipping thing. Calculate your body fat. Calculate your macros. Get an app. Set reasonable goals. Put this in charge of this and follow the rules. That's it. You know, you can make a book that thick out of it, or you can just tell people the damn truth because you want them to live longer. That's what I'm all about. So, if you have a problem following the plan, go look in the mirror, tell the person in front of you who is your problem with that, shut up and learn to live with it. You did this to yourself. It's time for us to fix it. Put this in charge of this, and this will fix itself. With that, it's been Jack with another episode. Hope you enjoyed it today. Remember, that scale in the bathroom is your friend or your enemy. I'm trying to turn it into your friend, and I'm trying to keep you alive.